everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, I'm going to read mine because he's told me I'm not allowed to go off piste, and I do have a tendency to do that, so I've got it all written out. I'm going to read it as well. Where's the clicker? Let's see if this works for me. No? There we go. Okay. That's wild. It's just doing its own thing and I'm not even touching it. It's got a sticky button. Are you doing it for me? Thank you.
If it's got a sticky button, surely we've got a product for that.
So, wouldn't it? There we go. Right, okay. Yeah, that's it. We're there. So, I'm going to tell you a bit about my story. A lot of you will already know me. You may have seen me around. I've been with Viva since day one, and I was with Clean Easy prior to that as well. But this is the first time he's let me loose on this stage, so thank you, Michael. I had a happy childhood and home life. I was average academically, quiet, believe it or not. Never one of the popular kids at school, but I never felt the need to be. That was okay. I went to Sunday school from a very young age. My dad had grown up a Methodist, and it was important to him that I had that grounding of right and wrong, of being a good person. Me and him were inseparable. We were always away all over the country, leaving mum behind at home, doing decorating and house stuff. Train spotting was our thing. So that's myself, my mum and my dad in 1980 at Land's End. We'd spend a couple of hours, collecting numbers, filling in our books together at home. It was me and him all the time. We'd drive a couple of hours in any direction. I'd read the maps and the signposts, and he would spend a few minutes each trip telling little 8-year-old me exactly what he was doing to drive that car. So much so that when I turned 17, I knew how to drive. I just had to learn to physically do it. It's almost like he knew. He taught me so much in our time together. I was a very lucky little girl. We lived in a nice council house in a little cul-de-sac. Is this flowing a bit? Yeah, just say that. Is that better? Yeah, we'll see again. Let me know if you can't hear me. So we lived in a nice little cul-de-sac in a small middle-class town. My dad worked hard, and he made sure that we had a brand new car every 2 years, and we had 2 holidays abroad every year as well. Mum worked as a dinner lady in another local primary school, and she had regular cleaning jobs for different homes in the area, so she was at home for me. Then life literally changed overnight when I was 10. The police knocked on the door with that call that no one wants to get, telling us in the early hours of the morning that Dad was not coming home from his train spotting weekend with his friends. He'd had a massive asthma attack, and it was too late to do anything. So Mum didn't cope well. She was only 36, and I ended up living with my next door neighbour for nearly 3 years, seeing Mum just one day a week while she went off to be a continental coach hostess around Europe. If that had happened nowadays, I would probably have ended up in the care system. It gave Mum and myself a pretty rocky relationship for a long, long time, because by the time she came back into my life full time, I was no longer the little 10-year-old girl that she left behind. My life had moved on, and I'd become independent from her. My teenage years weren't great. I was pretty much left to fend for myself a lot of the time, spending my summer holidays living with my gran, who went to Butlin Skedness. I could do what I wanted during the day, but I had to spend the evening in the ballroom sequence dancing with her because her boyfriend played in the duo on stage. My childhood had suddenly ended way too young, and although people tried, I wasn't always protected. As the years went by, I started to see the road I was on was not a good one. So I began to sort myself out, and rediscovered some of the values and the principles that I'd learned in childhood. So thank you, Dad, for that. it also started to shape me into the person that I am today. Unmatched, unbreakable, unstoppable. As life does, there were ups and downs along the way. It took a lot of years for me and Mum to get back on track, and it turned out that she genuinely had no idea that her actions had messed me up so badly, because she was in such a bad place herself at the time, so she just didn't see it. But thankfully now, that's all in the past, and me and my Mum are closer than we've ever been. So, let's see if we can make this thing do its thing. Are you in charge? Brilliant. Next slide, please. So, I first got introduced to this kind of business with Clean Easy back in 2004. I'd just come out of a relationship and I was being pushed into debt, having to buy and furnish a very old, run-down house from scratch with a mortgage that I had no chance of ever repaying. Because back then, you could just say to anybody, can I have a mortgage? And they'd say, yeah, of course you can, sign on a dotted line. Okay. I was already working 3 jobs, but I knew I would still need some extra money, and saw an advert on a car that said, "Feed the bills." It had a website link and a phone number on it, and I responded to the website, because there was no way I was going to phone someone, because they might try and con me into something. A lady consistently called me each week, but at the time, I was living in a friend's spare room whilst waiting for my house purchase to complete, so I just kept putting her off. Eventually, she invited me to a meeting. I went along, and I liked the dream I saw. Okay? I signed up there and then. The credit cards were already nearly maxed, so another £160 for 200 catalogues wouldn't really hurt that much. And just like that, my business began on the 21st anniversary of my dad dying, the day before I got the keys to my new house in a village I'd never been to before I viewed the house, in an area I didn't know. It was a pretty good way of meeting people and finding my way around. This village, although in several different houses, went on to become home for the next 18 years. Over the years, I worked hard. I qualified for an all-expenses-paid Hong Kong trip, and I won some cash bonuses as well. And I recorded a promotional video for the company. But things for me were getting harder. Another failed relationship in 2008 meant another complete restart, both financially and in business. But I did it, unmatched, unbreakable, unstoppable. By the start of 2018, I was feeling a bit stale out. I loved my business and I didn't want to leave, but I wanted to learn something new. Okay? So after a bit of late night scrolling, I suddenly found myself with a new job. I'd only been looking for a hobby. This job ended up saving my bacon now by giving me an income as 4 months later, Clean Easy went into administration. I was looking after a young girl with serious disabilities and additional needs, something that I never saw myself doing. But it fitted in because it was sleeping nice. I was getting paid to sleep. Can't argue with that. So I could still work the business during the day. And I was learning the new skills that I've been looking for as well. So it just worked perfectly. 7 years later, this little young lady is still like my little best mate. I love her to bits. I don't see her as regularly as I used to because I work another job now, but me and her have got such a great bond. She's just super. So when Michael announced the launch of VivaMK in 2018, for me, it was an absolute no-brainer. We've become really close friends over the years, and I trust him implicitly. So on day one, without having a clue what I was signing up to and what the business would even look like, I joined Pioneer. Slide please. Thank you. So our first catalogue was a little bit more than a leaflet, but I saw huge potential. And from day one, VivaMK felt free. There was no longer us and them between the network and HQ. We were all valued and all included, and we were in it together. Michael himself has disappeared. Oh, he's back. He even said that earlier on today, without even knowing I was going to say it, so something's working. As I mentioned, I'd restarted in business and financially twice before, and that had taken its toll. At its worst, it left me in over £31,000 worth of debt. So, over the years, I've become pretty financially savvy. Maybe because my formative years weren't nurtured, or maybe because I just made some bad decisions. But once again, just like in my late teens, it took me to work things out for myself. By the time VivaMK was launched, I was well on my way to clearing that huge mountain of debt, and I finally became debt-free towards the end of 2018, and I have been ever since. So during this time, I'd always had goals and dreams. Even when I bought the ramshackle house that you saw earlier, back in 2004, I still had a lovely house on my goal board in my office. I had no idea how that could ever become a reality. It was just hope. I had a very clear vision in my mind that I built over the years exactly how that house would look, inside and out. But when you're on your own and you've worked so hard to clear 31 grand's worth of debt, the idea of going around that loop again is a big no-no. I always said I'd never own another house until I could do it outright. I'd lived in rented for the last 10 years, and that was working really well for me because I had a great landlord who kept the rent low and an economical house. So I was paying off my debt and also saving alongside. I was in no rush, but equally time was ticking. I was getting older and there were things I'd love to do to the house I lived in, but I just couldn't justify spending that money because the house wasn't mine. Then, out of the blue, a new build came up in the next village, wasn't yet built, and I could afford it if I got a mortgage. It wasn't quite the house I dreamed about, but it was possible. So I reserved it. It was scary but exciting. It just didn't feel quite right though. Downstairs was tiny. It wasn't the house I'd had in my mind all these years. I was already living in a small house that wasn't quite big enough. There's only one of me, but I need a lot of space. So, was I making a mistake? Or would this be the best chance I'd get and I'd be foolish not to take it? Looking at the plans, the plot next door but one would have been my perfect house. I don't know if you can make this clicker thing, behave yourself, there's a little way to go. So the purple one there is the house that I've reserved. That one is the house that would have been perfect, okay? But it wasn't for sale, and there were only 2 left on the whole estate, and looking at other similar plots, it would have been way too expensive for me. But be careful what you wish for. Because imagine my surprise when just 2 days later, that plot, the little blue one there, was released to market for just £10,000 more than the one I was originally looking at. It was a much bigger house, more even proportions, upstairs and down. It had a larger garden, a double driveway, and a semi rather than mid-terrace for just £10,000 more. I don't think I've ever moved so fast. I flew down to the sales office. I interrupted a meeting, and I begged them there and then to switch my plot and take it offline so nobody else could reserve it. It was the home I'd seen in my mind for 18 years. It was just 6 bricks high. Oh, no, not that one. Hey, hang on a minute. Where's my lighty thing? So there we go. It was just 6 bricks high. This one here was actually mine, but I couldn't get a decent photo of it 6 bricks high because there were fencing round. So this one here was what mine was like when I reserved it, just 6 bricks high. There was no show home, just the plans and my imagination. But the exact layout that I'd had in my mind all these years. And this time, it was under my control. I wasn't coming out of a relationship and having to start again. I was doing it because I could afford to and I wanted to, and I'd worked for it 2 minutes. Okay. However, I also wanted to remain debt-free, apart from the mortgage. I was taking out a 17-year mortgage, as that was the longest I could get to keep the payments down. But there's no way I was going to be tied to 17 years. I decided right then I was going to pay it off in 10 years. Just watch me. This meant changing things up again. If I was buying a brand new house off plan, I didn't want to be furnishing it with 18-year-old furniture. I'd got 6 months until it would be complete before my mortgage would start. And I'd waited this long for my dream home that I was going to make it happen. So I made the decision back then to temporarily put put VivaMK on the back burner, okay? Controversial, but it's what I needed to do at the time, and I knew the business would be there for me when I came back. Still carried on working it, but I immediately got myself a job cleaning hotel rooms that slotted in perfectly with looking after the young lady I looked after, and it brought me fast money in, okay? I spent the 6 months poring over the plans, working out exactly what furniture I wanted, drawing rooms out to scale and banking the money. Yes, thank you. When I finally got the keys to my brand new home, where I'd chosen everything from flooring to kitchen, bathroom, light fittings, power points where I wanted, I had all my chosen furniture delivered and built within a week. Every room was and still is my dream come true, and most importantly, it was all within the budget I set and worked for, and I was still debt free. Okay? All this time, my VivaMK business ticks along in the background. I just placed orders online, kept it ticking along just to keep it active, and once the house was done, it was time to get back into a better routine. Most of my customers haven't seen me for nearly 2 years, but I followed my gut and I trusted in the relationship I'd previously built up with them and the strength of our amazing catalogues, which have now grown so much since they'd seen them. I was now part of the wonderful team Evolution, and we become good friends over the years, and they understood and respected the fact that I would have to do things my way because I was now working really long hours. I made it clear from the outset that I didn't do much. They constantly keep telling me that. And they were fine with that. There was no pressure, which is what I needed. With my first catalogue drop, going back to my customers, I wrote a letter to each customer explaining where I've been, what I'd done, how I'd missed them, but how I would be doing things differently now due to limited time. Naturally, I lost a few, but the astounding thing was the massive increase in order values. The next step was sponsoring. This was something I previously shied away from because I knew I wasn't around much to support anyone new, and I didn't feel it fair to bring them in and then not be supported properly. But with encouragement from Janet and Steve and the whole of Team Evolution, people started to join my team. This I really couldn't do without the team, because in my day job, my phone is switched off for 10 hours. Hi. Oops. Sorry. I'll bring the slides. Yeah, everybody wearing slides. So my phone is switched off for 10 hours each day. But my team know that if they need anything, I'll always answer them in the evening. But their first port of call is our Team Evolution chat group, because I know by the time I get home and turn my phone on, that everybody's answered their question. It's great. We help each other, we work together, we help each other as a team. In 2024, my amazing team Spitfire came third in the overall Team Evolution team sales. We've had new Star 1000s and 500s. I hit Star 2000, and I'm proud to be a pioneer and an advocate for the company as well. I was the second top sponsor in our team for new business sales and the 7th biggest retailer. And out of the 44 Team Evolution people who placed orders during 2024, 12 of them were in my team. Yet at the start of 2024, I didn't have a team. I've not done this. They've done it because they're amazing. And I don't do much. So my top tip, thank you. My top tip is to plan, dream, focus and change, okay? This applies to life or the business. Even if it seems impossible, dream it anyway and plan it down to the most minute detail on paper, but most importantly, see it in your mind. He's looking at me like miracles. Sorry. It's taken a lot of years for me to get up here. There's a lot to say. So focus on what you need to do. For me, that was clearing my debt, keeping it clear and saving. To do that, I tracked every single month. This is what I do every month. Where's my laser thing? I work out my income and my expenditure based on last month's bank statements, okay? And then I know what the figure needs to be that I need to earn. I break it down into 28 days and I know what I need to earn each day to make that work, okay? If you find yourself in doubt like me, speak to someone like Step Change because they're brilliant, they help me a lot. And I'm always happy to chat to anyone too. Even now, when I don't have to track in such detail, I still do that every single month because it keeps me on track and it keeps me focused, and it ensures I'm knocking chunks off my mortgage. Remember I said I was going to do it in 10? I'm a fifth of the way through my 10-year plan, but I'm a quarter of the way through knocking it off, okay? You can apply it to your business, the same sort of plan to your business. If you're looking to increase your retail or team turnover, know the monthly figure you're aiming for, then break it down into daily chunks and do whatever you need to do to achieve it. If you're unsure, ask for help, ask your upline, ask head office, ask me, ask anyone. There's always someone to help you. And if you need to make changes, don't be afraid of change. That goes for anything in your life, whether business, job, relationships, home, anything. You have your goal clear in your mind, and if something is getting in the way of that, change it. Last one. Sorry, last one. Okay. I know. We're all so lucky to be part of VivaMK. It really is a massive family that just helps each other. Surround yourself with your people, both in your business and in your life, people who get you and support you, because you have the power within you all. Once it's unleashed, you will be unmatched, unbreakable, and unstoppable. Okay? You can have your stage back. Thank you.